Good morning. The old man here. February 8th, 2025. I've been away for a while. Been super busy at work, and since Trump's inauguration, actually doing a lot of deep dives and kind of trying to suck up the information, what all's going on and what direction things seem to be going in. Been pretty interesting. We all know on the surface, we've seen a lot of what Elon Musk, Doge, has been doing through Trump. Fact of the matter is, I think Elon's just the front man. It doesn't take a genius to figure out where all the fraud is. Everybody in Washington knows where the fraud's at. Like I said, I think if anything, they gotta what they're choosing to do is expose the largest frauds first. Also attacking those that attacked him. Pretty interesting. CIA basically being handed termination letters saying that, if you want to take a retirement, we'll give you 8 months severance pay. And so far, he's got 60,000 that want to do that. I guess judge put a stay on it till Monday, but I think that's going to play. The unions can fight it all they want. At the end of the day, most of these people that are taking that 60,000, or the 60,000 that are taking that resignation, number one, they were working from home. Most of them, I'm sure, if not quite a few of them, working from home and are being forced to go back to work, and they don't want to do that. And a lot of those, believe it or not, they were working 2 and 3 jobs and taking government money and not even working at all for the government. Or very little, if maybe just enough to get things to get by. But at any rate, pretty interesting stuff going on there. One of the most important things, I think that, I've been paying attention. I don't know if the rest of the world has or not. It doesn't seem like it through the people I talk to. But with Trump putting tariffs on Canada and Mexico, it may be coincidence, and it probably is. But at that same time, they're repatriating a lot of gold and silver from across the world. I think that's the major bullion banks can see demand for delivery on their COMEX, and they're not going to be able to short them positions anymore. So what does that mean for us? Well, many will say, and to some degree I'm sure this is true, that the big bullion banks have been shorting gold and silver, keeping the price down, keeping it under control, mostly to hide the fact that the dollar is falling fast. But that's not to say we're the only ones. All fiat currencies across the world are on their way to zero. How fast they're going to get there, God only knows, but they're on the way. And the proof in that is that the dollar, or the gold, and especially gold prices across the world in all fiat currencies have hit record highs in the past year, and doing the same this year already. I think it'll be pretty interesting to see how that all plays out. But at any rate, they're repatriating that gold and silver, getting it back here to the United States, so they can cover their short positions on the futures market. They've got tons and tons and tons of contracts for gold and silver that they've been shorting. In other words, when these people stand for delivery that have had this gold and silver on loan to the COMEX, or the COMEX is holding it for them, When they stand for delivery and they are in record numbers, the chart is just it's right off the charts. I mean, it is just exploding. Over the last 2-3 weeks, I think it is, stand for delivery has 10x'd. 10 times more people over the last 2-3 weeks are standing for delivery than they have in the last, let's say, decade. I don't know, freaking long time at any rate. I think you got to go quite a few did stand for delivery back in at the beginning of the pandemic. However, that was pretty short-lived, mostly because they were able to paper over everything, and kind of hide what was going on. This time they can't hide it. And like I said, the fiat currencies are failing fast across the world. The fiat dollar is going slower than the rest, mostly because it's a reserve currency, but it's on its way as well. Whether it's a total collapse of the dollar or not, I'm not sure. We'll see how that plays out. I'm sure Trump's got it figured out. I think a lot of what Trump's doing now is setting things up, and so that when we do the transition, whatever that looks like in the future, that we're as organized and as clean, as good a shape as possible. There's been 100+ years of fiat currencies here in the United States. So that's 100 and some years worth of trash to take out, and by God, that trash pile is big. It's going to take a while to clean that up, but he's going at her fast and hard. I know that we will wind up acquiring Greenland. Many factors for that. Number one being the strategic place to have a military base, naval base, I'm assuming. But beyond that is commodities, and I think that's the big thing. And I think we'll have a naval base there because of the commodities. In other words, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, whatever in the hell is buried underneath Greenland. And this is the next 40+ years will be a commodity driven economy, and therefore it's going to be extremely important to acquire, just like we acquired Alaska many years ago, and I believe it was the 50s. When we acquired Alaska, the majority of that was for the commodities. There was lots, and there still is, lots of oil and gold and silver in Alaska. It's a little difficult to get out of the ground, but as the price of all the above go up, it will make it economically feasible to get those out of the ground and still make sense. That's one reason why you'll see the price of gold and silver go up, is so it makes sense to get those commodities out of the ground. So we're going to see that either way. One of the telltale signs, again, of fiat currencies across the world collapsing is that the price of gold is hitting all-time high records across the world in all fiat currencies. So we're definitely set for a reset. When that's going to come exactly, I'm not sure. But we got the best man and team, I should say, because it's not just Trump. In fact, Trump's the front man. You've got the Patriots are in charge. They've been in charge for a long time under the surface. We got it, but it's going to be a tough road to hoe. There's going to be a lot of shit in between. However, we've had over 100 years of slavery, this evil bullshit, fiat currency, brought to you by the the deep state, but also the central banks, the face of the deep state. I think one of the reasons why that gold and silver is being repatriated is that and why so many people are standing for delivery is because the big money, big family money, not the oligarchs, but the family money in the United States and the institutions got the memo. Get your shit. It's going to get ugly. And that means at some point the stock market's going to take a dive. Now, I think they're going to control that to the best they can. And in the past, I think I would have predicted a severe crash, but knowing more now than I did then, I think they'll control that crash to the bottom. There's several reasons why it'll take time, and they'll allow it to take time. But you got the plunge protection team in the government that will help keep that from taking a crash, and that'll actually help citizens if they get the memo to get out what you can when you can. If it's a severe over the night crash, basically, the individual person is going to get crushed. So many of the institutional money, family money, have, like I said, they got the memo and they're standing for delivery on gold and silver. And that's going to be the base of our currency going forward. It'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. Many say that there's not enough gold across the world to go around, and that to back our governments across the world, there's just not enough gold. So I believe they're going to have to revalue gold severely. In the past, I've said, gold and silver, they're God's money, and that's true. And they hold their value. They buy the same basket as the goods that they have, whether it's 5,000 years ago or 100 years ago, that's fine. I think it's suppressed, but also it brings its natural, all on its own, it brings its natural value for whatever reason, however that plays out. But in the future, and I don't think that's too far down the road, when there's a very large pivot, it'll go way beyond its actual value, because they're going to pivot. You're going to see them pivoting out of stocks, out of property, if they haven't already done it. In fact, that's why the commercial real estate is going to hell in a handbasket, and that'll all be revalued in the future. Trump is also deregulating the banks. In the past, the banks have had to carry a lot of trash just to be compliant. And when they got so much trash on their books, they got to reach farther and farther out on the risk spectrum in order to try to make a profit. And that just spirals out of control, where it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And now it's to the brink of disaster, basically. So what we're looking at is the debasement of the dollar, our fiat currency, the debasement of the commercial real estate, residential real estate is overpriced. So many things are just so far out of whack. The price to earnings on your stock market is out of whack. I've mentioned it in the past in the Russell 2000, 50% of those companies, or 48% actually is the last figure I heard, that they're zombie companies. In other words, they can't even make the interest payments on their loans. Them are all going to be thrown to the curb as soon as the stock market starts to take a dive. And again, whether that's going to crash, I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're going to be able to control it to some degree, make it look better than it really is. just so that the individuals don't get wrecked as bad as they're going to get wrecked. They're going to get wrecked, but not as bad as it would be, and giving them the chance to also pivot and move away. So it'll be interesting. I started stacking a year and a half ago, roughly July 4th of 2023. And the longer the time goes by that I started stacking, the more and more obvious it is that it's definitely a game changer for me. Besides my business and my inventory in my business that I try to keep at a constant, besides that, I'm 100% in gold and silver. Probably a little too heavy on silver, but that's all right. I just figured that out this morning just for the hell of it, but my ratio of stacking is 1 ounce of gold to 400 ounces of silver. Most will say that, most knowledgeable stackers will say that's a little too high on the gold to silver ratio. However, I feel that the gold or the silver is going to is really going to rocket at some point. We'll see how that plays out. At the end of the day, the dog in the background is Ruger. He wants back in, and he's going to get to stay out for a little bit longer. The weather's not too bad out there. In fact, it's chilly, but it's not windy, so we're going to let him chill out there for a bit. I'd like to encourage more to stack, or if you are a stacker, to stack more than you are now. If there's some things around the house that, really aren't crucial, now wouldn't be a bad time to sell some of the just junk laying around, even down to, I probably got $500 worth of change laying around that I haven't done nothing with just because it's a pain in the ass. I'm going to take that here shortly. I'm going to take that change, even just $500 now, converted to silver in the future, and what that I believe silver and gold is going to do in the future, is even a game changer for most. It wouldn't be a game changer for me, but why not? They're just sitting around doing nothing. In fact, if anything, it's depreciating in value because it's a fiat currency. So why not, get it back into the banking system. Let them have that trash and turn that into more silver. Even $500 worth of silver. I mean, shit, that's 20 ounces ish, not quite, but it's 20 ounces ish of silver. What the hell? I'll take another 20 ounces. One of the big things that I think about all the time too is an exit strategy, and it's a lot of what I don't think most people think about. They just, they stack gold and silver, and one day they're going to sell it. But actually, what are you going to sell it for? What's your dollar? How many dollars are you going to sell it for? And then again, does that even make sense? Are you going to trade it for a fiat currency that's being devalued by the minute? It's different if you got to, sell something to pay a bill, or you got to, let's say you got to sell some to pay taxes, or you got to sell some to fix a vehicle. Well, that's different. But I mean, if your end goal is to trade it for fiat currency at some point, then really what's the point? My end goal is at some point to trade at least part of my silver, or maybe gold, for property. When, I feel that gold or silver is near or at its max, and property is near or at its lowest point, I'll be doing some trading for property. Not looking for, rentals or anything like that. I'm looking for property. We're here in Michigan, and quite a few people have, two houses or cottages up north and that. Some don't necessarily have a cottage, but they might have 100 or in some cases even 1,000 acres of wooded property that they can, that they can hunt on or go vacation on or maybe camp on or something like that. And for the future, that's what I'm looking for, is a good chunk of property. I'm not sure how many acres that might wind up being. I guess it depends a lot on how high gold goes and how low property goes. Well, we'll see how it works out. But I think it's really interesting what Trump's doing. I think he's going down the right path. So many people I talk to think that he's just another politician, and they don't know whether to believe it or not, what he's doing. But in my opinion, I think God's in charge now. It's not just Trump. It's Trump and the Patriots are in control, and God's leading the way. That's my belief, and we'll see how that pans out. I think I'm right. And I've been watching Trump under a microscope since he ran in 2016, and I have not seen anything I don't like. Now, whether I'm naive or not, we'll find out. It's hard to say. But I wish him luck. God bless America, and you guys have a great day. Thank you. Bye.